Hello, and welcome back. As always, I am your host in orbit, Al, and today I'll be talking about Greek mythology. Greek mythology is like most religions. Basically, it's a way to explain things that people do not understand. So let us begin at the beginning. In the beginning, there was only chaos, the gaping emptiness. Then, either all by themselves, or out of the formless void, sprang forth three more primal entities: Gaia, the earth; Tartarus, the underworld; Eros, love. Once love was there, Gaia and Chaos, two female deities, were able to procreate and shape everything known and unknown in the universe. Then came the planets, but the most important is called Uranus, the ancient Greek deity of the heavens, the earliest supreme god. Uranus was the son and mate of Gaia and the father of Cronus, Saturn, and of the Cyclopses and Titans, predecessors of the Olympus gods. Now we have finally reached the physical beings, and that took quite a while. The Titans. Cronus was the youngest son of Uranus and Gaia, the leader of the first generation of Titans, and for a brief period of time, the ruler of all gods and men. He had successfully led a rebellion against his father, soon grew just as tyrannical as him, imprisoning both his siblings and swallowing all of his children, save for the last one. Evidently, this child is none other than Zeus. Zeus would be the one to overthrow his father and lock him away in Tartarus. Now we are at the Olympian gods. Again, a long time. Zeus is the Olympian god of sky and thunder, the king of all other gods and men. Coincidentally, the chief figure in Greek mythology. The son of Cronus and Rhea, he is possibly the most famous for his infidelity to his sister and wife Hera. Athena, Apollo, and Artemis, along with Hermes, Dionysus, Hercules, Hela of Troy, and the Muses are all of his children from these affairs. Hephaestus, Hebe, and Ares are his legitimate children. Zeus is one of the 12 Olympians. Hera, Poseidon, Demeter, Athena, Apollo, Artemis, Ares, Aphrodite, Hippolytus, Hermes, and either Hester or Dionysus. Although sometimes Hades and Persephone were included in the Olympians, they should be excluded in the sense that they live in the underworld. But that's a story for a different time. Now we finally reach the humanoid beings. Well, the more humanoid beings. And we reach the hero himself, Hercules. Hercules, as he is most popularly known, ever since the Roman times, was the greatest hero of all the Greek heroes. One who surpassed all men whom memory from the beginning of time has brought down in an account. A half-god of superhuman strength and violent passions, Hercules was the personification of bravery and masculinity in the ancient world, the most notable champion of the Olympian order, which he staunchly protected from various chaotic monsters and earthly villains. Even though his short temper and lack of composure did cause both him and quite a few innocent mortals undeserved trouble, the magnitude of his labors was such an order that it earned him the prize of immortality. The protagonist of hundreds of myths, chronologically of which is impossible to figure out. Hercules is undoubtedly one of the most iconic figures of Greek mythology. A demigod sired by Zeus, Hercules showed immense power ever since birth when he killed two snakes that Hera sent to his cradle to kill him. He had the very best teachers in his childhood. By the time he reached his age of teenage years, he had already outdone all of them in both stature and strength. But Hercules' adventures didn't start until he was about 18 years of his life, when he killed the lion, and I'm going to butcher this, Craphon, an exceptional specimen of manhood and virility. By the time he was 19, He had already fathered more than 50 children and bested a whole army. But things were not so great for Hercules. You see, out of profound sense of gratitude, Kron, the Theban king, gave Hercules his eldest daughter, Megra, with whom Hercules had at least 2 and as many as 8 children. Either way, after being struck with madness by the jealous Hera, Hercules killed them all and blamed no one but himself. To purify himself from this horrible sin, he was instructed by an oracle to serve the king of tyrants for the next 12 years of his life and to carry out all the tasks that would be imposed with him. Initially, there were 10 tasks. These would eventually become the famous 12 labors. The king gave him 2 more because he believed that Hercules cheated when he got help for 2 of his labors. Makes sense, right? Now you're probably wondering, what is the difference between Greek gods and Roman gods, or even the Egyptian gods? Let's start with the Roman gods and goddesses. They were named after objects, did not possess genders, whereas Greek gods were determined by human characteristics and traits. As Greek gods predated Roman gods, Roman mythology would take the Greek deity and assign them a Roman object that would fit their description. Next, the Egyptians. The biggest difference is that the death gods of Egypt were held much higher respect and self-esteem, being the most important gods other than the sun god himself. In Greek mythology, the god of the underworld, Hades, is more or less just a steward of the underworld. I'll be touching on all those other gods and goddesses in another podcast. This podcast has been long enough, and certainly has been my longest to date. So I'm going to stop right here because I believe it's a good spot to stop. I would like to thank you all for joining us today, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. As always, I'm your host in orbit, Al, signing off.